Welcome back to Rip City Rundown. This is episode 9 of the podcast. We are coming to you the day after the Game 3 loss to Denver at home. This win by Denver gives them home court advantage once again. Very disheartening loss, especially when it's the first home game of the playoffs. We'll give you the recap, the breakdown, what went right, what went wrong, who played well, who didn't. And so what are your initial thoughts / your initial reaction to this game?
I mean, I'm just like every other Blazer fan. I'm pissed. I'm disappointed. That was a game we really wanted to win, really needed to win. And we had our opportunities. Shots weren't falling for us. Shots were falling for them. Some players that are never going to do something like that in their life again did some things. And
let's just get it out of the way. Austin Rivers, 4 threes, shooting 5 for 10 from three-point land. I don't know what else to say about that. I mean, he's an NBA player. He's capable of making those shots. It's just really frustrating when he's probably the last guy you're going to help. He's the last guy you expect to beat you in that manner. And unfortunately, he's hitting contested step-back threes while Norman Powell is missing wide-open corner threes. That's somehow just the way it goes. It's really frustrating, though, because, that's not Austin Rivers' game, but it happens against us. And I think part of that is our defense. Our defense is dog. And by dog, I mean it's bad.
I mean, that was kind of how the night was in general. Just everything was going their way. And not much was going our way. I mean, Dame and CJ combined for, it says 8 threes, 8 for 26. But 3 of those threes were in the last minute when we tried to make a somewhat of a comeback. So, I mean, it's just, there was no consistency to our game. Nothing seemed like it flowed. A lot of just the same ISO ball stuff. I mean, I don't know how to say about it.
I'm curious. We ended up with 20 assists, which is all right. But game 1 win, we have 29 assists. Game 2 only 15. So we meet in the middle this time, but it's still not good enough, in my honest opinion. We have to be able to move the ball around more. And let's talk about Nurkic here. So Nurk, he plays really well. Probably his best game of the series. +9 when he's on the floor. And he fouls out with 7 minutes to go in the game, and I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
I mean, Nurkic played a great game all around. He was great playmaking. He had 6 assists in the first half, only ended with 6 assists, so it definitely slowed down a bit in the second half. But, I mean, he was active offensively and defensively, and then, we can get into the reffing later, but, I mean, there were a couple bad calls on him, resulting in 6 fouls. Dame said it best. I mean, he said, we're playing aggressive and physical just like them, but everything we do is a foul. So, I mean, what can you say? I mean, there was a play where Campazzo slaps down on the ball. Not the ball, actually, Dame's arm. I think it was late third, maybe in the fourth, but no foul called, and that just kind of summarized the reffing all night. I mean, they ended up with 27 free throws, I believe, compared to us at 13. So, I mean, when you're already...
However, according to Denver fans, it was actually way closer because a lot of those free throws were late in the game when we were intentionally fouling, but it still doesn't take away from the fact that Lillard shot 2 free throws all night. 2 free throws when he's the one who's going to the hole the most. And it's what the annoying part is, you see, especially, Denver fans they talk about this all the time, Dame gets superstar calls, and he gets, he flops on his threes and stuff, and it's he shot 2 free throws. It's I don't understand that argument because it literally doesn't make sense. You shoot 2 free throws, and then every shot he shoots where he gets fouled, it's obviously no shot, it's that side out. So he's never going to shoot free throws.
That's exactly what it is. Just reffing has been pretty questionable the last 2 games.
And it's not an excuse for why we lost. It's just when your star player who goes to the hole and drives to the basket the most, that if any player on the floor, both teams, shoots 2 free throws, that is an issue.
Yeah, I mean, when you're already down early and you're trying to make a run to come back, when you're starting to hit your shots a little bit, and they slowly start to slow down, the free throws come in, slows the game down, and gets Denver right back in the driver's seat of the game. So that was super disappointing in the second half, just when you're trying to come back from a deficit like we had early. 3-point shooting. The roles reversed today. They end up making 20 of their 38 shots for over 50%, compared to us 14 of 45 for only 30%, and that's probably a little more than it probably should have been. We hit like 4 threes in the final minute of the game.
Yeah, that was definitely something that I didn't necessarily expect. Denver is a good 3-point shooting team. Like, they're not bad. They're in the top 10. You know, we are number 2, I believe, or we're at least in the top 3. So that was definitely an advantage for us going in. And, you know, Damian Lillard 5 for 16, CJ 3 for 10, and, you know, a lot of those were, you know, late. And there was a point when Dame was 3 for 10 and CJ was 2 for 9. It's just like, that shooting, it doesn't matter how good of a team you are, you're just not going to win many games in the playoffs if you can't shoot, especially when your defense is suspect. And speaking of suspect defense, let's talk about Enes Kanter. So, nothing against Kanter personally. He had a fantastic series in the Western Conference Finals. However, Jokic is a much better player now, and Kanter is just, his defense is so bad. It's so bad. He only played 6 minutes last night, and in those 6 minutes, he was a minus 15. A minus 15. So that means the 6 minutes he was on the floor, we got outscored by 15 points. And I think the how do I say this? The main part of where I was like, okay, Kanter just literally, this is not the series for him. Is, you know, he comes in, you know, his job for us is to score and give us second chance opportunities and rebound. They put up a 3, they miss. Jokic gets the rebound, first shoves Kanter off the spot, but they're not going to call this ball foul on Jokic. God forbid that happens. Then Kanter slaps Jokic across the face going for the ball. It's a flagrant. That one was more of a flagrant than CJ shove on Composite. So I'm not going to necessarily argue the flagrant. It's more Kanter's fault for not doing the job of rebounding, and they immediately get 2 free throws and the ball, and we're back down 7 again. Like that.
Yeah, I mean, if Kanter's on this floor again, especially if it's with like a Melo next to them, Terry has no business coaching the rest of the series. I mean, Kanter is practically unplayable at this point. His replacement for his minutes, Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, however, was a +1 in his minutes on the night. So I mean,
but that's the thing. Like he scores 0 points. Kanter scores 0 points. So if Kanter's not going to be on there for his offense, then why is he on the floor? Like, if you're not going to score, then why are you there?
I mean, that's exactly it. He hasn't really scored at all this series, I don't think. I mean,
no, he's just there to play bad defense, and it's, again, like, Kanter, in the right matchups, he can be good. Like, I think this, if somehow like, for example, if we play Phoenix in the second round and you know, it works out like that in a hypothetical world, against Ayton, that might be a good play because you just need size, and Ayton is not Jokic. But against Jokic, Jokic is destroying Kanter, and it's tough to watch. It's really tough to watch.
Yeah, I mean,
now would be a good time to have Zach Collins.
Now would be a great time to have Zach Collins. You said you saw something like, barring we advance, he could possibly make a return, maybe?
Some return, possibly, like late second round conference finals area, but I don't know. It's kind of a stretch. I wish we had him. But yeah, he would be another defender that we could really use. It's just the problem with the Blazers is we don't have many two-way guys. We're either guys who can really play offense and not play a lick of defense, a.k.a. Enes Kanter, C.J. McCollum, or guys who are very good defenders who offer no offensive output, Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, Derrick Jones Jr. And, you know, I think the closest we have to a two-way player is Nurk.
Yeah, Nurk's the only guy that showed up on both sides of the ball last night.
And Dame gives effort on defense, so I'm not going to be like Dame doesn't play defense. I mean, he is limited with size, and, you know, he is shouldering the offensive load, so it's tough for him to really put it all out there on defense, but he's still, you know, I still think he's a neutral, at least. He's neutral on defense. He's not necessarily a negative.
Yeah, for sure. Terry Stotts, do you think that there should be rotation changes? Do you think the Like, what were your thoughts on the small ball lineup to end the game? Some people liked it, some people hated it.
I personally, I don't really know because I don't necessarily think what happened was an accurate representation. Melo on Jokic. I kind of like the small ball lineup if Nurk's not in the game because it leaves Kanter on the bench. So if Kanter's on the bench, we're doing something right. The problem was when you play small ball, you have to go double Jokic, and then he can find guys who theoretically aren't necessarily great shooters, but last night were on fire. Look at Austin Rivers. So the small ball lineup did not work, but I don't blame that on Terry. Because last night, it was either going to be you double and live with Austin Rivers threes, or you have to watch Jokic back
Yeah,
on campus.
it just shows the holes in this roster that a lot of people kind of just like been looking through like golden glasses and haven't seen them. I mean, I think what we did last night was smart, doubling Jokic. You got to make the guys that weren't even in the league earlier in this year hit their shots. I mean, there's this thing called shot quality, and it gives you what the final score is. Like, if you just look at the shots that were taken, what the final score would normally be expected to be. The Blazers, expected by the shots taken, should have won by 6. They had a 65% chance to win based on the shots taken. So that just shows that we missed open shots.
The shot quality that each team took. You know, for example, an Austin Rivers step back 3 over CJ is theoretically less likely to go in than a Norman Powell wide open corner 3. And
that's how it was last night.
That's kind of how it was last night. And that's the thing about basketball. And at the end of the day, it's a make or miss league. If you could have a team of Giannis and KD and LeBron, and they're clamping on defense, but if you have 5 guys who are just spraying, it's kind of what the Mavericks have been doing to the Clippers. Yes, the Clippers' defense has been kind of bad, like team defense-wise, but the Mavericks have shot the lights out, and that's why they're up 2-0. So the Blazers, you know, today they played all right, but the Nuggets just got contributions from very, very unlikely sources. Again, no shade to any of the Nuggets players, you know, but you'd be lying. Even Austin Rivers himself would be like, did I expect to go 5 for 10? Probably not. Especially late like that. I mean, like, Jokic and MPJ were deferring. It's just, it's crazy.
It's crazy to think that Jokic is deferring and still putting up 36 points. Like, he's
How many assists did Jokic have?
5. Campazzo was on triple-double watch. He needed 2 rebounds, 2 assists. He had a triple-double, which is just, how is Campazzo being that much of a playmaker?
Well, Campazzo is a playmaker. It's easy to be a playmaker when your job is to put it in the post to Jokic. He had a nice drop-off to Gordon for the N1 that gave Nurk his 6th. Nurk's just got to be smarter with foul trouble.
The one on the ground, the 4th?
The 4th and the 5th were both soft.
Was the 5th the charge?
No, the 5th.
That was the 3rd.
The 5th was the reach in on Jokic when he got the ball in the high post. With about 10 minutes maybe to go in the game or something. I don't really remember at the time. But that was probably the softest call. 4th was pretty soft too. Yes, Nurk reached up. Should not have reached in, especially with the way the refs are calling the series. It's interesting because we're not asking the refs to favor us. We're just asking them to be consistent. If Aaron Gordon is going to go to the line for an and 1 because he gets touched on the wrist, I expect Dame to get the same call.
Yeah.
And not Campazzo being able to reach in and grab his arm just because Campazzo is small. That's not an excuse. Campazzo is he's tiny. What is he, 5'10"?
Something like that.
He's actually tiny. And when he's that small, the refs let him get away with stuff. And it's frustrating because Dame, I kid you not, I don't think Dame lies about his, getting hit. But, I mean, every 2 minutes, I can just read his lips, and he always is like, they're grabbing my arm. They're holding my arm. And obviously, if the refs want it to be playoff basketball, not every call should be a
But do that
foul.
on the other side.
But do it on the other side. That's how it's just frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, even like Powell, I remember like 3 or 4 times last night where Powell was like going up for a shot, and then he feels he gets hit or something and asks for a foul, and he ends up with no free throws. We had 13 free throws as a team. That is nothing.
Anthony Davis had 21 by himself in the Phoenix Suns game. And I mean, the Phoenix Suns versus Lakers game in game 2. He had 21 by himself, which is like, I don't know. Let's talk about some positive things. We've been kind of negative. Carmelo Anthony started off bad, but he finishes with 17. Again, actually this is not a positive thing. Here's the problem with Carmelo Anthony. He scores 17 points, 5 of 12, 4 of 8 from 3. That is good shooting. He finishes as a minus 11 because his defense is just very not good.
The only plus on the defensive side that I saw from him all night was maybe like 2 straight possessions where he was on Jokic, and he was at least like just like making him shoot, which again is probably a bucket for Jokic, but like he wasn't at least just getting bullied. He was the only guy that was knocking down shots to start the fourth quarter. But other than that 4-minute stretch of his 8-0 run by himself, his minutes just weren't really that valuable. They just were filler minutes.
Our bench is just very weak in terms of defense. When you have Simons, Canner, and Carmelo coming off the bench, I mean, that is probably 3 of the worst defenders.
But even offensively, it's not that good.
No.
It's just not good.
It's not good because you have to have Dame or CJ on the floor at all times.
So that begs the question. I don't think there's any chance this happens, but do you put one of the 3 guards, either CJ or Norm, do you bring him off the bench and do like a Derrick Rose? Do you bring him off the bench? They end up playing most minutes.
Choice,
like, come on.
It'd be CJ.
And then who do you start?
I would start either Derrick Jones Jr. or Rondé Hollis-Jefferson.
You go that big with Jefferson? I guess they go big too if we think about it.
Yes, because if you have Dame and Norm, Rondé Hollis-Jefferson, Covington, and Nurk, that is Rocco has 6 points. Okay, you're basically taking away some offensive production for light years better on the defensive end.
And just see how it works. Like, just try it.
Start Derrick Jones Jr. Like, CJ is a fantastic player, but I don't know. I'm not the coach, but I would, explore one of those options of putting more defense in the starting lineup. Or maybe even bringing Norm off the bench to provide some more defense.
Yeah, that was the thing about the trade with Gary. Gary was coming off the bench. Norm is obviously now a starter. So
we're very top-heavy.
Yeah. Our starters are great, but
the bench is terrible. But some positive things is it's only 2-1 in the series. We've proved we can beat them on their home floor.
Not over.
Game 4 is a absolute must-win.
It's at 1 o'clock Pacific time.
1 o'clock Pacific time. So early game for those Oregonians out there.
Let's talk about the fans at Moda. I feel like the energy was loud at times, but like you got those people sitting courtside. The only people you could see get loud, please.
Yeah, I think it was louder than we thought. I think the game was on NBA TV and the quality there is really, really bad. So you're not going to hear the fans as much as compared to a TNT broadcast. But yeah, it didn't look like a regular incredible Moda playoff atmosphere. Hopefully Game 4 is better. I still think with COVID, people are still a little worried. I guess I don't really know.
Just imagine if we were like New York. That would be.
Shout out to the Knicks. But positive things. We can still win Game 4. Series is tied at 2, and then at that point, it's just a 3-game series. You just got to win 1 on the road, or you just got to win 2. We have to win 3 out of the final 4 games.
Yeah, I mean we were 2-2 last time we played Denver, and we went down 3-2. So I mean we've come back from deficits. We've played great basketball in must-win games. But you want to try to avoid those must-win games until the last possible moment.
And the other thing is, I'm not necessarily angry with how the Blazers played tonight. This was a much better performance than Game 2. Game 2 was a bad performance.
There were a lot of sparks.
Because Denver is not going to shoot like that from 3 again. They're not going to shoot 53%. Even if they, in theory, you don't want to play this game, but if Austin Rivers misses 2 threes, we win by 1. I mean, that's not how it would have played out. That's just saying that Denver's 3-pointers, even if they shoot 40%, like their team average, and we played exactly how we did tonight, and we missed open shots. I'm really not – okay, I'm very worried about the series, but I'm not in desperate mode yet.
Yeah, we're not looking at this like we were versus the Pelicans where, we literally had nothing going for us. Nothing looked like it could be changed. We were down 3-0 or 2-0, just we'll go back to that. We looked terrible then.
Yeah, I mean, last night – we're down 2-1, but I would not. It's just interesting. I would not be surprised if we lost Game 4, and I would not be surprised if we destroyed them in Game 4. I just really don't know, because right now the Nuggets have the shooting advantage. They have the coaching advantage. They have the best player in the series, and they have had the reffing advantage right now, and that's not as. Again, I hate using reffing as an excuse. But again, when Damian Lillard shoots 2 free throws, Nurk shoots 3 free throws, and McCollum shoots 4. CJ McCollum shot more free throws than Dame. How many times does CJ drive?
CJ
is
doesn't
in
go to the
mid-range.
basket, yeah.
It's absurd. That stat is absurd to me.
I do want to give a shout out just to the 2 stars of this series because, I mean, they're both averaging like 38 points this series. And that's a testament to both stars, but also a testament to just how hard they are to guard. I guess that is still a testament to the stars, but like...
I mean, Dame has 37 on bad shooting from 3. I mean, he shot 30%.
He shot the ball great from 2, but a lot of those at the end, or a lot of them are just like, no one else is going to try to score, so I have to do this by myself.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of our rant there.
Do you want to go around the league, look at the other games that were last night?
Yeah, so the Bucks go up 3-0 on the Heat.
They just look in complete control.
The Bucks look really, really good. The Lakers go up 2-1. They defended home court, unlike us.
Devin Booker?
Devin Booker's
shove,
foul
like,
at the end. This is why I don't like Devin Booker. This is what I was saying on the podcast a couple episodes ago. Devin Booker's a great player, but I just really don't like his attitude and the way he carries himself. Usually I base my disdain or my like for players off how they carry themselves and how the refs ref them. So Booker gets a lot of calls, and then when he doesn't get the call, he complains about it, and that really frustrates me. It's kind of like LeBron in a sense. But I have more respect for LeBron since he's been there and done that multiple times. But yeah, so Devin Booker, I guess, a frustration foul, shoves Schroeder in the air.
Like 30 seconds left in the game.
Gets
or something
ejected.
like that.
Maybe it was a little soft for flagrant 2.
I don't think it was.
It was, it was a very dangerous and dirty play, and that's
AD
why
wasn't
I don't
happy
like
about
Devin
it.
Booker.
Yeah, AD wasn't happy about it. I mean, sucks for the Suns. You play this well all year in the regular season.
The Lakers win in 6.
You got to play the Lakers. Chris Paul doesn't look 100% healthy. I mean,
but I
tough.
necessarily don't really like the Suns, and here's why: because they go 8-0 in the bubble last year, and they're like, we need to make the playoffs because we went undefeated, and it's like that's not how it works. You sucked. You were so bad for a bunch of the season, and you go 8-0 in the bubble because. I don't know their schedule, but they were, I don't know. They went 8-0, and they were like,
they went 8-0. Congratulations, you went 8-0.
Yeah,
and get your bubble trophy.
Yeah, they have a fantastic
Mickey
regular
Suns.
season. Yeah, they have a fantastic season. And now they're on, not the verge, but they're now behind in the first round with the chance of getting knocked out of the first round, which would be very entertaining.
Yeah, we're in a better place than the Suns because at least we have a home game next. They are still on the road, and they have to steal one at Staples, realistically. They will at some point. They actually will.
The series, they have to win at Staples, which I don't think will happen.
Yeah.
On the other hand, for us, I do think if we win Game 4 and the series is tied at 2, we can. Game 5, Game 6, and Game 7 are all winnable. I mean, we could win this series in 6 still. I mean, I would not be shocked if we've the offense caught fire for 2 games, and then we have a close it out game in Game 6. But I would also not be surprised if this goes to 7 or if Denver closes it out. Anything can happen at this point.
Do you think Blazers do you think this is at least going 6, or could you see a world where the Denver wins in 5?
I think it's going 6. I don't think if we lose next game, we deserve to lose in 5. How about that?
Wow. I mean, I think if we lose this next game.
Yeah, it's still.
I guess it depends on how the game is.
Yeah, but you lose both your home games. That's rough. Yeah, so I really hope the Blazers come out with extended energy next game, like the Nuggets did in Game 2, and maybe we'll get a couple more whistles from the Zebras. That's all we got, I think.
Yeah, I mean, shorter one,
shorter
but
podcast, more of a rant. Hopefully, some changes. If this series goes south, some changes coming in the off season. Hopefully. For Dame's sake, the front office goes for it a little more. It's been a little passive. We've gotten marginally better each year. But yeah, hopefully we still hang on and win this series. We're not even gonna look ahead to next series. We are focused on the Denver Nuggets right now, and we need to win Game 4 to tie the series up, and we will see you after Game 4. Hopefully, episode 10, next podcast, we will have a series knotted up at 2.
Yeah.
We will see y'all later.
Peace.